You're tuned in to the hottest sports analysis of the week with your hosts Ron Dolbeck and Chris Roberts. And now, here's the first round.
Oh, you found us live on YouTube on a Thursday night. Our Wednesday night show, we had to push it back a day, but it's not because of lack of entertaining content. We thank you for joining us here, and we have a full show to talk about. I want to get started with it right now, but first, Chris, you got dipped into the Christmas red tonight. Yeah, I don't even want to. What's going on with all? You're repping Canada tonight.
Yes, man, repping Canada.
Why? What's going on in Canada that I don't know about, man?
Man, nothing, man. I haven't been to Canada in a while, but I loved Toronto when I went. So, I mean, just had to give Toronto some love tonight, man.
There is so much going on in the world of sports. We got UFC news. We actually have significant Major League Baseball news. We've got all the bowl games that we're not going to go over tonight. Next week, we're going to have a bowl blowout special where we're going to give all of our picks, analysis, and my teaser specials. Last week was awesome with the college football. What else is going on in life? I mean, there's so much going on in sports. NFL, we're in the middle of the NFL season, but just in life in general, man.
Oh man, life is great, man. I wake up every day and just thankful to be here and to be able to do this show, man.
I'm thankful to be here, and we love doing the show every week. We hope that we are doing a great job. We're up to 71 subscribers, which on some scales isn't that much, but for us, it's like, hey, when you start from zero. So much going on in the world of sports. Let me take this opportunity to get it started right now with the biggest stories going on in the world of sports. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the NFL. Clinton Portis and Tamarick Vanover are slapped with an indictment and charges against them. Health care fraud against the NFL system, where they are accused of scamming $3.4 million over several years and recruiting other players to come in and get into this system. I don't even understand why Clinton Portis and some of these ex-NFL guys, it's amazing to me how badly mismanaged they are when it comes to their finances. And they actually have people in place in the NFL that come in as rookies. When they come in as rookies, these specialists talk to them about money management, and they still get into stupid stuff like this. Chris and I will talk about that. What is going on with the Patriots offense? You know what? They don't deserve to be up here anymore. There they go. Their offense stinks. They've lost 2 games in a row. I know they're my favorite team. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I love all things Boston forever since 1979, but this has gotten ridiculous. Chris and I are going to talk about what's happened to their offense. We teased it a little bit at the top of the show. Major League Baseball. Hot stove news. Cole Garrett signs with the New York Yankees. It's like the rich getting richer. I know Chris is going to love that story because he's a Yankee fan. Yankees also going after relief pitching. They're targeting Josh Hader, reliever, out of the bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's still signed this year, $6.4 million. Money talks, trades. I don't know what they're going to give up, though. They just lost Didi Gregorius to the Philadelphia Phillies. Anthony Rendon, he leaves the Nationals. Signs a 7-year deal, $245 million. $245 million. I can't even spend that much in my life. Well, I could, right? I could spend that much. Steven Strasburg does not leave the Nationals. 7-year deal, also $245 million. Don't get me started on Brett Gardner's signing. I want to get into this, but this guy struck out twice as much as he walked, and he just got a $5 million raise while he's batting .251. Is that right? Am I reading this right? .251. I want to talk about Brett Gardner and some of the moves that the Yankees are making. Some of them I like, but other ones I'm questioning, and I'm going, what are we doing up there? And it's fine. If they go down, I'm not hating on that. We're the World Series champions last year. Don't say it, Chris. College football news right now. Lane Kiffin leaves FAU and goes to Ole Miss, so that leaves a vacancy down in Florida. Who takes it? Of course! We have to go out and sign Willie Taggart. He's such a stand-up guy when it comes to football. His resume is so awesome. Why not give him the job? I've got 9 million reasons why you don't give him the job. We'll talk about that. The bowl games are announced. Oklahoma, LSU. The biggest one I'm looking forward to is Clemson against Ohio State. Other big games we're going to talk about. Georgia takes on Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. I think that's going to be a tight game. Georgia edges it out. I love their defense. Rose Bowl, Cotton Orange, January 1st on the Outback Bowl. Auburn takes on Minnesota. Again, not 2 pinnacle teams, but teams that are very evenly matched and really good. I think that's going to be a great one to watch. Also, December 27th in the Holiday Bowl back in my hometown, San Diego, Iowa takes on USC. Speaking of college football news, off the retread coach news wire, Steve Adazio, former coach of the BC Golden Eagles of Boston College, gets fired and gets picked up at Colorado State. It's just retread city. I can't stand it. I will get into that more. Heisman finalists announced today. Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Chase Young, no Tua Tagovailoa. How can that be? I know he got injured, but didn't he have an awesome season? Chris and I will break down our top 4 Heisman contenders. Men's college hoops, 6-3 Texas Tech Red Raiders take down number 1 Louisville 70-57. You do not want to be a number 1 team in men's basketball right now because they keep losing the week that they get the number 1 berth. UFC fighting this week. I love this. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas Saturday night. Welterweight fight between Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. They're both 15-1. They're both tough characters. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Max Holloway is also on that card. So is Amanda Nunes. I'm looking forward to that. And a special shout out tonight to a family from Tennessee whose whole existence revolves around serving our country and being patriots. And having said that, where's the oxygen, the Tylenol, and I think I need a drink. I want a Long Island, or I will take a White Russian right now with that thing on as soon as you can. Ray Boom Boom on the board there.
Yeah, I think you just hit a record, man.
For what, speed talk? I got it all out in less than 2 minutes.
You got it out, man.
I can see, I'm trying to keep focused on talking to our audience. And then I see Ray Boom Boom back there like, come on. He's giving me hand signals. Sometimes I can't read hieroglyphics.
Hey, man, he's trying to get you to get that Guinness Book of World Record, man.
I don't know if there's a world record for it, but we got it all out. Let's talk about the NFL news. The first thing that is hitting on all the NFL pages, the blogs, ESPN, CBS Sportsline, everything, is the story with Clinton Portis and Tamarick Vanover and 6 others scamming the NFL out of money, claiming that they needed equipment for health-related issues, prescription drugs, and then recruiting other ex-NFL players to do the same. Reportedly, they took the NFL. This is the Gina Upshaw health coverage plan that they're accused of taking $3.4 million from. Now, I'm one, it doesn't matter who it is, that I will say, we live in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. That's why I'm saying they're just accused of this stuff. Right. But beyond this story, which I do want to hit, how do these guys keep getting into, how many times have we heard guys, ex-NFL guys, interstate drug trafficking? How many times have we heard ex-NFL guys running out of money, going out to Vegas and getting huge markers, and then getting into debt and running out of money? And now it's these guys scamming the NFL, allegedly, because they've run out of money. Either that or they just want some action in their life. I mean, I can't imagine what they're thinking.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both.
Both what?
That they
need the action?
They need, I guess they need the action, or it's just, or, I mean, financially, some of them are irresponsible. When you look at the NFL, you look at their contracts. I mean, these contracts basically say, where we're going to pay you X, Y, Z amount of money, but it's only a certain amount of it is guaranteed. Right,
and here's the thing a lot of people don't know. As of 4 or 5 years ago, the NFL brings in specialists to talk at the rookie symposium where all the rookies come in and they talk to them about their healthcare packages. They talk to them about when they're going to get paid, how much they're going to get. I remember going up and interviewing Stan Humphries in La Jolla at UCSD from Extra Sports, and I remember I figured out his contract. He was getting like $245,000 every 2 weeks. So imagine, that was 20 years ago, and you give an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kid $50 million. And that's why you see him with the, personal barbers and the whole entourage behind him. And these specialists are supposed to come in who are hired by the NFL to help them with their money management skills. And maybe some of them fall through the cracks. Obviously, some of them fall through the cracks. So I can't even put myself in this position where if I was 18 years old, you know how dangerous I'd be with $200 million? Yeah. I mean, I'd be buying human beings and weapons. I mean, I was out of my mind when I was 18 years old. And then you're going to give me $50 million? And besides that, I've been living in this small college town for most of them, and I've been a lower level god, not the god, a lower level god. And now you're giving me $50 million. So now not only do I feel like I have the power, I've really got it with the money, and I can do so much damage.
Well, yeah. And so, I mean, when you look at this whole situation, I think the financial training actually should start before that. I think the NFL actually has it right by making the kids stay in school, XYZ amount of years before going to, before allowing them to get to the league, so that they can, get that maturity factor and, probably start to learn a little bit more about finances before actually going to the league. I actually think they got it right. But it again, it's up to those players, whether they are going to accept the financial information that they give them in the beginning in those trainings and how to apply it.
I mean, what's Clinton Portis doing when he's out of the league? He's sitting there trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to make money? And then you come up with a scheme for like medical insurance fraud. Like, what are you doing every single day in your big house that you're sitting around? You got enough time to sit here and figure out something like this? Now, he's not guilty. Maybe all of these guys are completely innocent, but this wouldn't be the first time we've heard about this. So I'm just wondering, like, how do you get to the point where you're like, yeah, I'll do something incredibly illegal because I've ran out of money, instead of talking to your agent and saying, hey, give me some commercials, or, just going after any other avenue except something as extremely extreme as this, and on such the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah, actually hearing about this and actually reading a little bit about it today. Because we're all from Gainesville, and Clinton is a was basically, he's a hometown hero.
Right.
He did do a lot for the community when he came back here into Gainesville, as far as doing backpack giveaways, barbecues, and stuff like that for the east side of Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you know him and you know his personality, I would have thought he would have went more towards TV rather than this avenue right here. So this is kind of shocking to me.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, and I'm all about that. Don't accuse anybody before they've been found guilty, and I'm all about that. It's just such a hard story to get your head around. Like, how do you get into that vein of illegal activity? I mean, first you have to choose right or wrong, and then in the wrong category, you're going to go after medical fraud, and it's absolutely crazy. By the way, one of the people that were listed in these charges was Tamarick Vanover, former Florida State player. Moving on to other NFL news.
I said you had to get that dig in there. I knew it was coming.
Former Florida State player Tamarick Vanover has been listed in this. So,
well.
Moving on to NFL news.
So was Rashay Caldwell, former Gator.
He hasn't been charged with anything.
Yes, he has.
They haven't brought the charges against Rashay Caldwell yet. They might, but they haven't yet. We're only talking about people that have actually been charged because they could be guilty, like Tamarick Vanover, former Florida State football player. Moving on to semi-NFL news, I wanted to talk about the Patriots. I threw their helmet down. It doesn't mean I'm off the team. I have had a 20-year run of following, 30-year run of following Boston sports teams. I mean, I was following the Patriots when they were at Foxborough, the old stadium, and they had about 9,000 people showing up. I was following the Red Sox in 1979 when Fenway had like 4,000 people showing up, and you couldn't name two of the people on their team. So I went through the ML Carr years with the Celtics. I went through the 86 years of drought, since I was a fetus in 1991, the year I was born. The Patriots offense looks as bad as it has looked in the 30-plus years that I've been following them. And the last 2 weeks have been exceptionally bad. It was hard to watch Sunday Night Football last week at home against the Chiefs. And I am not going to get into they got robbed.
They did.
Because you think they did get robbed?
They got robbed twice.
They got robbed. That N'Keal Harry was a touchdown, right?
That was a touchdown.
Okay, so we're not going to get into that.
Before that was too.
Their offense is ranked 23rd in the NFL right now, and I'm having a hard time figuring out who's behind them. That's how bad their offense looks. They're rushing for an average 96 yards a game, and rushing they're 23rd. They're 15th overall, which is hard for me to believe.
Right.
So rushing, they're ranked 23rd. In the last 5 games, they put up 16 points against KC, 22 points against Houston, 13 points against Dallas, 17 points against Philly, and 20 points against Baltimore.
Well,
I'm not used to this.
Well, I mean, you're not used to it because Brady's used to having somebody to stretch the field, whether it's Gronk running down the seam, or I mean, he had AB in the beginning of the
One
season,
game.
right? So you had AB. I mean,
They got first-round draft pick N'Keal Harry, who's tall and strong. You know what? They only targeted him how many times against Kansas City? Twice.
Yeah.
What do I know that? I mean, they know something I don't know. That's why you drafted this guy, is to stretch the field.
Well, you drafted him to stretch the field, but as the old saying goes, Father Time is undefeated, and you're starting to see that with Tom Brady. I mean, he is starting to show a little bit that he's not the Brady of 2 years ago.
Okay, let's talk about Tom Brady and his performance, because I don't think all the blame needs to go onto Tom Brady. Obviously, his frustration has been pouring out. In the first game of the year, it was a Sunday night game against Pittsburgh. He had 2 passes that he completed for over 40 yards.
Right.
Game 1. Since then, he's had 1.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, you have to look at. I mean, you got to look at what he has on the outside. You have Philip Dorsett, who they brought in to stretch the field.
A C middle of the road player,
Exactly.
Solid player. He's not going to burn anybody. Julian Edelman, who's been up and down with his health issues all year. He also leads the NFL in drop catches.
Right. I mean, then on top of that, I mean, they haven't utilized James White as they should more in situations where you put him in the slot receiver.
Right. Or catching it out of the backfield.
Exactly.
Plus, Rex Burkhead was hurt at the beginning of the season. I don't know what's going on with Sony Michel. 5 weeks into the season, he had no yards after first contact on any of his rushes. I don't know what's going on with him either. They've got Cincinnati this week. That should be like a free spot on the bingo board, where you allow people to get healthy, and it should be a W. Then they've got Buffalo at home, which is not an easy game, but they should be able to win. And then they've got Miami to finish it off, which is another free spot on the bingo board.
Yeah, not to even to make things worse. I mean, then you have the fact that you're being overshadowed by this video gate stuff again. I'm like, come on, man.
I know, but a lot of that came out today, where they hired an independent company to put together promotional videos. They don't have any. That doesn't have anything to do with their offense. We're talking about their bad offense.
Yeah, it's the offense, but still, I guess in a sense, it kind of took away from the fact that the offense has kind of sucked for the week. I mean, to have everybody to talk about that and not talk about the offense. But they have to get it together, though. They have to get Sonny Michel going. They have to get James White going.
How much of it is the offensive line? Dante Scarnecchia is a great offensive line coach, one of the best ever in the NFL, ever. And how much is it?
But they've been dealing with injuries on the offensive line as well.
Okay, so Isaiah Wynn is back.
Right.
Joe Thuney is healthy. Yeah. They took Newhouse off of the left tackle position.
I mean, you're trying to get it together, but it's like in the middle of the season.
We're closer to the end of the season than the middle.
Yeah.
Are they able to pull it together and make a run to the Super Bowl?
At this juncture, I don't know.
Right. If they keep playing the way they're playing now, no. But do you think that they're going to be able to fix this problem and put it together before the playoffs come? They've got 3 weeks now. They've got 4 weeks. And actually, if they get they're going to win 2 out of the last 3 games and finish up with 12 wins and have a first round bye. So you've got 3 games left, then another week off because they're not going to play in that playoffs, and then another week. So they've got 5 weeks to get this fixed before their first playoff game, hypothetically. Right. Is that enough time to get this fixed?
I mean, under Belichick, it should be. However, they still have to get. One of the main issues that I've seen with the Patriots, and just looking at the game Sunday, is you had I can't think of the receiver, the guy that came from the practice team. You had this guy that's wide open, and he's dropping passes, or you have him running the wrong routes, and Brady's looking at him like
Jacoby Myers.
That guy, I think that's his name, Jacoby Myers. But you have him running the wrong routes, or he's wide open, he's dropping passes, and you can see the frustration. That type of stuff is something that you're not used to seeing with a Patriots team. So I don't know. I really don't know. Looking at the way that this offense is functioning right now,
I still have faith. I have faith. I would rather be the Patriots than Dallas.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's a lot of teams I'd rather be than, I have faith in the Patriots. I think they can pull it together. I just don't know how they're going to do it right now. I'm 2 seconds away from hitting the panic button on our offense.
I mean, it has to start with the running game. They have to establish a running game.
Which means it's got to start with the offensive line, which hasn't been solid all season.
They have to get some push. They have to get push on the offensive line.
And they've got to get protection.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not happening right now. Major League Baseball talk. We talked about Garrett Cole leaving Houston Astros and going to the hated evil empire that is the New York Yankees, who love to buy championships. By the way, Chris is a New York Yankee fan. I speak the truth. 9 years, $324 million. Here's my concern with it right now. He's 29 years old, and you know that in sports, the magic number at age is 33. Mm-hmm. That 33rd year, all the metrics start going downwards. Now, there's freak athletes out there like Gordie Howe, like Tom Brady, other guys that are over 40, Wayne Gretzky, or over that 33-year-old, LeBron James over that. He's still at the highest levels of the NBA. But on the whole, 33 is the number. So we're going to put him at 36. Let's see. We're going to put him at 38 in his last year of this contract. What am I getting at age 35, 36, and 37 with Garrett Cole here? And that's a lot of money. That's luxury tax, ring, ring, ring.
Probably a good relief pitcher. I mean, by that time,
Or is this they're going to dump him? See, here's the problem. Are they going to dump him at 35 or 34 when he's not effective? This is only a 4 or 5 year thing, and then you got a guy on a huge contract, and who's going to want to pick him up when his prime years are in the rear view?
Nobody, but then again, we are the Yankees, and this is what we're known for doing.
No, we are not the Yankees.
Yeah,
you are the Yankees. My teams have more world championships in the last 20 years, so I don't even want to hear about it. You're the Yankees. Are you happy with this signing? It's a lot of money, and I think 40% of this contract is going to be lived out when he's 34, 35, 36, 37.
Well, that's one of the main concerns about baseball contracts. I'm not really a fan of those large contracts where you're paying a guy that's going to be upwards into his late 30s. All of this money. I mean, you just go back. You look at Albert Pujols with the Angels. I mean, they paid him all of this money, and here it is. This guy's just pitch hitting. So it's like, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of paying them all?
I know. I should. I always talk about how I should be a GM, and any NFL corporate executives that need a good GM, I'm right here every Wednesday and Sunday. I'm available. But I always thought, I should go into baseball.
Yeah.
You can have an average year. Like Brett Gardner from the New York Yankees. Let's talk about this contract. He signs a $12 million deal. Last year, he hit .251, 108 strikeouts, and 52 walks. The 2-to-1 ratio is supposed to be the other way. Twice as many walks for strikeouts. It's not. He made $7 million, and hitting .251 with 108 strikeouts, they decided to give him a $5 million raise? What the heck is going on with that, man? He's on the wrong side of 33. I mean, he's like Old Man River out there. He should be doing, commercials for like Bic razors and Gillette, shaving that dome. Maybe some Mr. Clean stuff, some wax on, turtle wax.
It wouldn't be the Yankees if we didn't give
stupid money.
If we didn't give one of our players a merited status, it wouldn't be us.
This is like the ultimate golden parachute contract.
Exactly, man.
251.
Yeah.
With 108 strikeouts, twice as many as your walks, and we're giving you a $5 million raise.
Yeah,
what is Brian Cashman thinking? Is it like it's Christmas early in New York? You're just throwing money everywhere.
You get $1 million.
Yeah.
You get $1 million.
But they don't have enough to keep Didi Gregorius, who leaves the Yankees and goes on a 1-year deal to the Philadelphia Phillies. And why did Philly only give him 1 year? But what do you guys do? Is this is it? This is like the surge. We're sick of making it to the ALCS.
Exactly.
And we're going to throw all kinds of money at this thing. We don't care how bad the cash-eating monster is. We're going to throw all the money at this, and this is it.
Yep.
We're going for broke.
Yep, we're going to keep printing money, and we're going to keep throwing money at the situation.
How does it work out for the Yankees this year? Because they're picking up Garrett. Also, they're going after relief pitcher Josh Hader from Milwaukee.
Right.
His contract, he's signed through them this year, $6.4 million, but they're pegged to be going after him because, I don't know, Aroldis Chapman is getting old.
Yeah.
Betances is not effective anymore. I mean, I don't see those as problems. This can't be a middle relief answer. And you're going to have to pony up and give him more money. And then you're going to give up what to get him? Who are you going to give up?
That's a good question. I mean, we released
farm system? And then he's going to want buku bank next year.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the issue. It's like we can't give up our farm system. Give up some of our prospects like that. But I mean, at this point, the Yankees are at a point where they have to win now, and that's what they're trying to do.
Is signing Garrett Cole enough to fix that starting rotation. So let's just say he's your lights out starter.
Right.
CC retired. You got Tanaka, who's I think he's a broken down warhorse, frankly. You got Servino, who's bipolar. He's either lights out or he can't make it out of the third inning.
Right.
And then who else do you got on your staff? Hap? I mean, he's on the wrong side of the fence. His best years are in his rearview mirror. So you got one starter, and then you got 3 or 4 other guys that I don't know what I'm getting out of it. I don't know if that does enough for me.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I believe that's why they were also going after Stephen Strasburg as well. I mean, to have somebody else to help bolster that starting rotation. Right now, I mean, we have Cole and we have other arms just to throw at it right now. I mean, I believe we will probably try to make another move somewhere down the line.
Mid-season trade.
Yeah,
I could see Brian Cashman doing a mid-season trade and trying to pick up somebody out there on the waiver wire or the free agent market in some kind of a trade because I love if I'm a Yankee fan, I'm loving the fact that we got Garrett Cole, and I love the fact that we're being aggressive. I'm just trying to figure out the other pieces because one starter and 4 broken down horses, I don't know that that's going to be enough.
Yeah.
The Red Sox are going to be rebuilding. They're shopping Price right now. Sales locked up through this year. They got rid of Porcello, so you know that they're in rebuild mode, even though they're not making a move. But the winter meetings aren't over. Hope springs eternal. Let's go into college football. Lane Kiffin takes the job at Ole Miss. That's going to be awesome. He just gave us like 5 hours worth of content coming back to the SEC with his tweets and post-game comments. He says the most volatile stuff for having the most cerebral attitude. He can stand at the mic like Bill Belichick and just be very calm and talking like this, but I'll say the most outrageous things that you've ever heard. And I'll also get fired on the tarmac or walking out of the tunnel after a really bad game.
Yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's him. But
is he going to be able to rebuild? And how much is he just loving the fact that he's going to be going up against Nick? I know how to push his buttons.
I love the fact that Lane is back in the SEC. It's funny. I don't generally listen to Paul Finebaum, but he made one of the craziest comments ever, which was Lane Kiffin is going to be the first of Nick Saban's ex-assistants to actually beat Nick Saban. And I could possibly see that happening.
I can't see it for the first 2 or 3 years, right?
Not for the first 2 or 3 years, but I could actually see it happening.
And if they don't win in 3 years, he's going to be history. Not that they have a huge expectation in Oxford, but I don't see that happening, but it was a funny comment. He leaves FIU, which leaves a hole there, and they decide in all their brilliance at FAU to go out and hire Willie Taggart.
Yeah.
Willie Taggart. Did you just see what he did to FSU? This is the guy that's going to be the face of your program?
But see,
you want to talk about snapping the Prozacs in half for breakfast tomorrow? Do you understand this hire?
I actually do. I believe
Why?
This is where Willie Taggart should have been at. I mean,
coordinator, Chris. He's a coordinator.
No, I mean, but Ryan, you have to look what he did at a smaller school like South Florida. He actually had South Florida on the right track prior to taking a job at Oregon.
What has he actually done? This is why we pay them millions of dollars. What have you actually done?
He didn't do anything at Florida State.
Okay.
But again, this is a smaller school, smaller institution.
Smaller expectations.
Smaller expectations. He is going to be able to recruit those 3 and 4, those little 3 and 4 star players that other schools will look over. So he will be able to bring those into that school to actually keep that rolling.
That's the only way he's going to be successful. He has got to raise up the game when it comes to recruiting.
That's what he's going to do. He's an excellent recruiter.
I don't even care. It's Willie Taggart. Yeah. It's FAU. They're not on a blip on my radar. I only mention it because I'm questioning the sanity of whoever's running the athletic department at FAU for hiring Willie Taggart after what you just saw that he did at Florida State. It just doesn't make sense. There's other candidates out there. I don't think they took a lot of time to look at some of the other candidates. And how many seats is that going to put into the stadium? Because you're not making a big splash with Willie Taggart.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's a big stadium to start out with. But, when it comes down to Willie Taggart and FAU, I mean, that to them, that is a splash because they're looking at what he did prior to Florida State. He was not ready for the for the big league.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. He wasn't ready for the big leagues, and they are making a splash. It just happens to be in a toxic puddle, and that's the splash that they're making. Moving on to other college football news, I'm starting to get excited. We looked over the bowl schedule and some of the bowl games, and you know what? There's about 8 or 9 games that I'm really looking forward to, and the rest of them, it's like I can't believe I'm actually going to say this because it's getting towards the end of the season, and I'm grasping on to the last stitches and remnants of college football for this season before the 6-month drought starts. But I look over the lineup for the bowl season this year, and I honestly, 65% of these games are unwatchable. But your team, FSU, made it into the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. So you've got to be ecstatic. That Florida State fan base has to be ecstatic about making it to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, which takes place in one of my favorite cities, El Paso, Texas. Spent a month there one night.
Yeah, but I'm actually excited for this game simply because of who we're playing in that game. So
Arizona State?
Yeah, we're actually playing against the Herminator. So I'm actually pretty excited.
I'm excited to see the Herminator.
Yes, I'm like I said, I'm excited to actually watch that game. So.
Let's get to the big games right now. The two that stand out, obviously, at the top of the pinnacle of the five-star blue chip games are Oklahoma and LSU. I think LSU gets it done. We'll break down all the bowl games coming up in next week's show. But just tonight, the one that if I had to only watch one bowl game, it would be Ohio State Clemson. I am so geeked for this game.
Right.
I mean, I'm literally going to cut a hole in my sofa, and I'm going to put food around me. So even if it goes in overtime, I'm not leaving that sofa. I'm watching all the commercials. I'm watching the pregame. I'm watching the postgame sponsored by Ford. Everything. I'm watching this whole thing, every single speck, in 75 inches of liquid dripping 4K color, because this game to me is the standout marquee game. You've got star players. You've got Heisman contenders. You've got great coaches. You have 2 undefeated teams, and the anticipation for me is right through the roof. The line is only 1.5 points. Clemson's favored by 1.5 points. That's how close this is out in Vegas. People who know are saying it's 1.5 points in a $1 billion betting industry.
Yeah, I mean, so you look at this game. To me, this game is basically almost, in a sense, the national championship game because it's so much hype around this game. You have Justin Fields going up against, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you have that Clemson defense going up against that Ohio State offense.
Right, and vice versa.
Vice versa.
Right.
I mean, so it's like, to me, this game is
something's going to have to give.
Exactly.
And what's it going to be?
Who knows?
Both have great offenses. Both have great defenses. Both have experience. Both have great coaches.
Right.
That's why the anticipation level is through the roof for me. I can't wait to see this game play out. Again, we're going to talk about this more next Wednesday on our bowl game breakdown show. The LSU Oklahoma game, the best thing about it to me is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. I
love CeeDee Lamb. I think that LSU is just a super solid team, but their defense can be a little lackluster at times, just like Oklahoma's. And I think it opened up at 13.5 points as LSU the favorite. I think it's like a 10 or 8 to 10 point game. I think it's a little closer than that, unless we have freak turnovers, which nobody can predict. But I think this game is a little closer than the 13.5 point line that it opened up at.
I look at this game and I actually think that, I mean, when you look at the last few games of that LSU's defense, that LSU defense has actually turned the page. I mean, look, not only did they hold Georgia to basically 3 points the whole game.
Well, but Georgia had a lot of injuries. They had suspended players. There was injuries in the middle of the game.
I don't really think that would have made a difference. That defense actually came to play. I mean, Georgia, they came out, they took their shots.
Right.
I mean, they took their shots. And
they weren't able to convert.
And there was nothing they could do about it.
Right.
So, I mean, I really think this LSU defense is actually going to show up, and I believe that it's going to surprise a lot of people in that game. I really do.
So let's say any matchup, LSU versus Ohio State or Clemson, is going to be another epic game.
It's going to be an epic game, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what if Oklahoma wins?
That would be the...
I mean, I can't even get a place in my head where I can see that happening, right?
I don't see it. I can't see it happening just looking at how LSU's defense has played over the last 3 or 4 games of the season. I don't see, where Oklahoma actually kind of have their chance to get it. I mean, because it's going to... The only way I can see Oklahoma winning this game is on special teams.
Fumbles,
and
turnovers.
Fumbles and turnovers. That's
and
the
their
only way they can
defense has
do
got
it.
to show up in a way that they haven't all season. Yeah, let's talk about Georgia taking on Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. I am looking forward to this game, and unfortunately, I think Baylor's had a good run this year, and I've talked about the great job that Matt Rule has done down there in Waco, and, you know, double-digit wins on the season. Nobody expected them to be where they're at. Frankly, I think this is going to be a bounce-back game for Georgia, and I think their defense is going to be spitting nails mad just over the SEC championship game and getting slighted so much afterwards. I mean, I was reading stuff on Twitter from the Georgia fans. I'd say about 15% of them were like jumping off the boat and angry, mad, ticked off, and everything else when it's not like they rolled over. I mean, they had a lot of injuries. They had one guy out due to suspension. Cager had an injury that kept him out the whole game, and they just couldn't get on track, and you're going up against a buzzsaw in LSU. I didn't think they had anything to hang their head about. I think they come out spitting nails mad on both sides of the ball. Kirby has got to open up his offense. You know, that's one thing that I'm seeing in the blogs and on the chat rooms and on Twitter is people are, Georgia fans are saying, Kirby, you got to open up the offensive book, and I think they do too, but again, I think Jake Fromm is a highly effective quarterback, but he is a limited quarterback. You're not going to see him throwing bombs. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be throwing bombs and stretching the field like that. I think you just got to take your time and work your way down, make every drive count, and make sure you get points out of it. And then your defense can shut down Baylor. I don't even know if Charlie Brewer is going to be back healthy 100% as the quarterback for Baylor in this game. And if he does come back, what am I actually getting? Does he have cobwebs up there in the belfry? I don't know. So I like Georgia in this game to win.
Well, I look at this game and I look at Baylor. Baylor, out of the Big 12 teams, Baylor is probably one of the most physical teams out of that Big 12 conference. And I'm looking at this game. I believe this game is going to be close, and I actually think that Baylor may be able to squeak this one out.
Okay, so we're going to have to mute his mic. Something's not working with his mic.
No,
he said, no, I can't.
No, seriously.
Ray Boom Boom.
No, seriously.
We're hitting the man card button. You're on double secret man card probation just for saying that.
Seriously. I mean, you look at this Baylor.
Georgia's offense has to drastically fail for them to lose this game.
Georgia. Look at Georgia's offense over the last few games.
They had all kinds of injuries.
Like 20, and so do you think those injuries are not going to take their place? I mean, they lost one. I think was their linebacker that tore his ACL in the SEC championship. I mean, so you have.
I think they're going to be back. I think they're going to be motivated. I think that I like Kirby Smart in coaching. He has got more playoff and experience in bowl games than Matt Rule. I think it's a close. It's not like Georgia's going to blow them out. I just think that they're going to be motivated, and I don't think it's going to be that close of a game. I'm seeing like a 10 to 14, 15-point win for Georgia in this game.
I just think that Baylor they have enough to compete with Georgia in this game, and I think that this game it's going to be close. And I think that if it's close, Baylor has a chance to pull it out. And I think they can do it.
I think it's going to take an offensive collapse, and I think it's going to have to take turnovers on the part of Georgia for them to not win this game. I love Georgia going down there to the Sugar Bowl and getting it done. Help me out. Why is Florida playing Virginia? I mean, this is absolutely the 5-star who cares bowl game of the season. Florida and Virginia?
Yeah, I mean...
Why isn't it Penn State and Florida and Virginia and Memphis? I know there's conference affiliations, but this is just me talking as a fan. Like, I have zero interest in this, and I graduated from the University of Florida.
Well, I mean, again, because the ACC is locked into the Orange Bowl, and Florida is they are technically the second ranked, the third ranked highest SEC team. So,
is there any chance Virginia wins this game? No. Okay. Moving on to the Rose Bowl. Wisconsin and Oregon. I'm interested to see this one. Real quickly, I think Oregon's offense gets it done. Again, next Wednesday, we're going to break down all these games. I think this is another one where the teams aren't 5-star teams. You got 2 4-star teams that are evenly matched. Wisconsin's got to quit being bipolar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like awesome first half, and then it's a disappearing act in the second half. They need to have a full game against Oregon. I had Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game plus 6 points. They more than covered. I think they're going to come in solid. I think Mario Cristobal has done a great job. I love Paul Chryst as a coach. I think this is another one of the games out of the 7 or 8 games that I'm actually looking forward to this is going to be one of them, and it's the granddaddy of them all. I love watching that parade every New Year's Day morning.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this game too, and like you, I mean, to me, Wisconsin is always that team that always seems to fade down the stretch. I don't know. I don't know if it's something in the water up there, but Wisconsin starts out really, really well at the beginning of the season, and even when you get to some of these games late in the season, they start off really, really well, and then they just fade off. I don't know what's going on with them. And, you know, I think Oregon is a team that's coming on.
Explosive.
And they
on
came on, they
offense.
explosive on offense.
J.J. Riddell.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Defensively, yeah, they're tough on defense.
Johnny
too,
Johnson,
so yes.
wide receiver. I mean, he's faster than lightning. I think if I had to make a pick now, I'd take Oregon plus whatever points. I haven't seen the line yet. Other college football news. The Heisman finalists were announced today. Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, and Chase Young. No Tua Tagovailoa. That's pretty much the order that I would put him in. But I said last week, if Justin Fields, which he's not going to, but if he won this, I really wouldn't have a problem with it. Even if I was an LSU fan, they're probably all down there in the bayou saying right now, that's sacrosanct. You can't say that. Joe Burrow's the anointed one. He's got to win this. When you look at Justin Fields, he's accounted for 54 touchdowns, over 3,500 total yards. He's only thrown one interception, and his team is undefeated. This is not to take anything away from Joe Burrow at LSU. So just take some Xannies, all the people down in Louisiana right now, because I'm not saying Joe Burrow doesn't deserve it, because he does. What I'm saying is they both equally deserve it. Jalen Hurts is not in that category. Neither is Chase Young or Tua Tagovailoa or anybody else in the country. They could be all mentioned in the 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3, 4, 5, 6 positions, not in the top 2. The top 2 is clearly they've distinguished themselves above and beyond everybody else. But if Justin Fields won it, I wouldn't say too much about it. Nor if Joe Burrow, who's going to win it, wins it. I'm not going to say too much about it either. You're not going to get a beef from me either way. We're really underselling, though, what Justin Fields has done this season, aren't we?
Well, we're underselling what Justin Fields has done this season, but at the same time, you really can't discount what Joe Burrow has done this season.
Yeah, no discount.
I mean, this guy went into Tuscaloosa and gave St. Nick the beatdown that nobody had seen happen to Alabama in a while. I mean, he's beaten Auburn. I mean, he's destroyed Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher.
Right.
I mean, look at some of the coaches that he's beat.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with his resume.
Right.
I think they both deserve it. I just don't. I think everyone is talking about Joe Burrow, and nobody's really talking about Justin Fields.
Well, no, nobody's talking.
And he's just as deserving to me.
Right, nobody's talking about Justin Fields. I mean, with Ohio State, simply because I mean the SEC right now they it's their time in the sun, and so and then on top of that, you look at what LSU. Typically, you don't see an LSU offense that's this potent. Mm-hmm. You haven't seen an LSU offense that
reborn
that's this potent, that's running the ball and passing the ball.
Yeah, where
you have multiple receivers over with 1,000-yard receptions. I mean, so when you actually have this, and against especially with a team that doesn't have this type of offense, quite naturally they're going to get this. They're going to get the spotlight.
You said that this was the SEC's time in the sun. Was that like some cryptic way of connecting the fact that the Florida State Seminoles are in the Sun Bowl, sponsored by Tony the Tiger?
Nah, that was nowhere near.
I wouldn't be too proud of that if I were you. No. You guys actually, we both talked about it. I don't even think they deserve to be in a bowl game, but have fun with the Tony the Tiger Bowl. Men's college hoops, 6-3 Texas Tech takes down #1 Louisville. Here's the story in college hoops. Everybody that's been #1 goes down that week so far this year. What a freak thing. So Louisville is still ranked #1, but they lose.
Right.
And they're going to be moving down. Doesn't mean they're not a good team. How about Wayland Baptist guard J.J. Culver from the NAIA putting up 100 points against Southwest Adventist, two church colleges going after each other. He scores 100 points in a 124-60 win over Southwest Adventist. Adventist.
All I want to know is who took that guy off to make him go off for 100 points.
100 points.
I mean, did the team just be like, here, you just shoot, you hot right now? I mean,
I don't know. He shot like 30. He made 34 field goals from the field. I think he made 12 threes, and then he had 27 free throws or something. I mean, I just scanned it. And there wasn't a whole lot of even coverage on it. That's
scary efficient, though.
2 thumbs up to J.J. Culver and NAIA. Let's get on to UFC. Yeah. Saturday in Las Vegas, one of my favorite towns. I love that place. In the welterweight division, 15-1, Kamara Usman is going up against 15-1 Colby Covington. Both these guys are tough. Both these guys are super athletic. They've both proven themselves. Yeah. I think this is going to be a lights-out 5-star match that I absolutely want to see. My interest level for this is through the roof. Also on that card, Max Holloway will be fighting Alexander Volkanovski. Don't know a lot about him. Amanda Nunes is also going to be fighting on that card. I mean, she just destroys people. She's one of the most savage female fighters since Ronda Rousey came out. Yeah. Let's talk about the Usman-Colby Covington fight right now. I am so looking forward to this because, again, I love seeing athletes at the top of their game being matched against each other because it's so close. Usman is a 175 favorite to beat him, and Colby Covington is getting 145 if you put up 100. Right. I think it's even closer match than that, but I'm calling this one. I'm thinking. Oh, gosh, that Usman fought Tyrone Woodley. The only thing I don't like about it when he fought Woodley was it was in March. Mm-hmm. So he's had a little bit of time off. And Colby Covington, he fought August 3rd. I think Covington goes down. I think that if I had to bet on this one, I'm taking Usman in a very close fight. But, UFC, anything goes. Right. Somebody can get knocked out in the first round or anything. But if I'm going to make a pick on this one, I'm going to take Usman to get the win.
I was looking at Usman too, and the fact that he did fight Tyrone Woodley back in March. I mean, it gave him enough time to recoup, to actually strategize, looking at his next fighter.
That's a lot of time, though, homie.
It's a lot of time off, but I mean, you got to think. I mean, a lot of these fighters, they go from fight to fight to fight. They never really have time to recover their body and fully get healthy. Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that he's able to actually to not have that fault since March, to actually get his body back, get his mind back together, fully recover, and go into this fight, that gives him an advantage.
That'll be a hot card, I think, on Saturday night. That's going to be from T-Mobile Arena, the brand new arena that is right behind New York on I-15 right there. It's an awesome building. Outside the world of sports, you and I talk every week about looking for stories that we can plug and talk and just lift up great stories in life or in sports. Right. And I'm still new to Twitter, but here's my thing. You and I talk about politics, even though we're not political people. Right. And I happen to think that now, in the season that we're in, as we're ramping up for another presidential campaign in 2020, that unlike any other subject, religion, abortion, anything out there, global warming, anything, politics is something that has divided us so badly in this country that it's almost a turnoff to me when I go onto Twitter and 80% of the stuff that I see on there or on the news is about politics. And it's just, you grow up and you're just taught that the other side sucks. The other side never has good ideas. The other side is all bad. Instead of coming together and saying, hey, why don't we all get in the same room and come up with great ideas that are going to advance all of us as a country, and maybe even we don't want to be too crazy, help other countries. Why don't we do that? And so I see this viral, venomous talk that is out there so much on Twitter, and maybe it's just me being new to Twitter. I don't know. I'm not bashing Twitter. I'm not bashing people that are very passionate about politics. It's a part of our society, but sometimes, like everything else in society, you can go too far with it. So I try to matriculate and move towards stories that are great. And one of them I found, so here's the cool thing, you put something out there and maybe somebody likes it. And I always like to thank people for, retweeting something that I said, and I think it's a very gracious, generous move. And so I started not building a friendship with, but I came across somebody who liked one of my tweets, and her name is Vanessa, and she's at, I don't want to get this wrong, at Rocky Top Raised _ Southern Belle Born. And this is one of those stories where you come across people on the internet or in life, like you and I are out there a lot, and they just have a spirit about them and a heart for life that's amazing. Right. They're outward focused. They're thinking about other people. They're not bashing other people. They're trying to lift up other people. And I started talking to her about military aspects of her life. I think one of her plugs is she was married. Her husband is retired United States Marine Corps. And anytime I see that, I'm from a military family and we moved around a lot. And I know the type of toll being in the military or being connected to the military or being a part of a military family has, because you move a lot and you have people that are gone a lot. And it's not like they're gone out on a sales contract around the United States. They're gone into other countries where they could lose their lives. And it creates a dynamic that is very difficult to overcome. And it should be honored. Her father served in the United States Marine Corps. His name is Michael Yoder, and he served in Vietnam. That right there we could just praise him just for his service there.
Right.
A lot of those guys that went over to Vietnam didn't believe in what we were even doing.
Right.
Their government called them and they said, okay, I'm just going to go serve my country. It doesn't mean I believe in what's going on politically, right or wrong.
Right.
The fact that they go over and they're willing to put their lives on the line and serve and not be draft dodgers or leave the country or any of that nonsense is very honorable. Vanessa's husband's name is Ryan Labarge. Labarge. My bad. Ryan Labarge. He's retired United States Marine Corps. Thank you for your service, Ryan. When he retired after doing a full stint, I believe, in the United States Marine Corps, he then went and worked for the Department of Defense, again, serving our country. They have a son named Cody. He signed up and is serving in the U.S. Army. He happened to be shipped out on Vanessa's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. See, now we're bringing it down to a human level. So you got to imagine this mom and one of her children gets shipped out to go serve in the Army on her birthday. That's when we start using the word sacrifice to country, because that's got to be a difficult position. I have 3 kids myself, and I can't even imagine what that feels like. But she has to be very proud of her son, Cody. They have another son, Joshua Yoder. He serves in the Tennessee Army National Guard. So all these men in her family, 4 of them, honorably serving our country in different facets, doing different jobs. Here at the first round, our family here salutes you guys, Vanessa. And we say thank you to each of those individual men for their service. Nobody goes into the military to get rich. Nobody goes into the military like a lot of the players and athletes and people in sports think that they're going to receive notoriety. They do it because they're honorable men of character. Not to get rich, not to have a spotlight thrown on themselves. So we here salute you. We salute your family. We salute everything that you guys have gone through. A lot of us here, we can't even imagine some of the sacrifices or troubling times that just being in that situation causes. I can to some extent because, like I've said, my dad was Navy and other people in my family have served. But this time is for you and your family. So to Michael, Ryan, Cody, and Joshua, we want to say thank you from us here at the first round in our family to your family. We appreciate everything you've done. And Chris, other things going on in the world of sports tonight.
Hey, Ron, you collect baseball and basketball cards?
I mean, look at the wall. I've been collecting baseball cards forever. I've got probably one of the most expansive collections of sports memorabilia and authentic owned items from athletes, probably in North Central Florida.
All right, so check this out. So Zion Williamson, who has not played
Spit.
not 1 quarter,
Not 1 second. Right?
this season.
Yeah.
His rookie card, guess how much it's going for?
10,000, 100,000, I have no idea.
$100,000.
You know, it takes us working for 3 weeks to make $100,000, and he just puts out a card, and it's $100,000.
1 card.
I'm always amazed at Christmas time how people and parents will fight, kick, scratch, do anything they can, and become these subhuman, consumeristic animals and pay $500,000 for a Cabbage Patch doll or some whatever the craze is that year. $100,000 for a card.
Well, yeah, his
Well,
rookie card.
you know, the interest drives the market. My dad always taught me when I was buying all these memorabilia pieces, and he'd ask me, how much is that one? How much is that one?
Right.
And I'd say, you know, like the Jesse Owens piece we had up here for a while. It's about a $5,000 piece. It's very rare. He didn't do a lot of signatures. He goes, oh, it's only worth what someone will pay you.
For it, right?
And you look at that market, somebody's going to pay $100,000 for a little piece of cardboard.
$100,000 for a guy who has not played not 1 second this season.
He's viral. What else is going on in the world of sports, Chris?
Yeah, but just to cap it all off on a happy note, my guy Khalil Mack, linebacker for the Chicago Bears, He went back to his hometown of Fort Pierce and actually went ahead and dished out $80,000 at the local Walmart to help everybody have a Merry Christmas. I mean, it's always good to have when you have players that are willing to go out and give back to their communities and back to their hometowns. A salute to my man Khalil Mack.
Where did he do this?
This is back down to Fort Pierce.
Oh, Fort Pierce.
Fort Pierce, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What see, that's the great stories that we try to find here in the first round. Great stories like that. That's a good one. We need to have more stories like that. We need to have more stories like Vanessa, Rocky Top Raised _ Southern Belle Born, a great Twitter follower. I like people like that are out there putting out positivity. Speaking of positivity, that music can mean only one positive thing. It's time to thank our support staff here. My man to the left, Chris Rogers, doing a great job tonight. The man on the board, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, El Presidente, Chet 40. Thank you for all of you out there watching us here tonight, letting us put something good in your ear from the First Round Studios. We will be right back here, possibly Sunday, but look for our shows maybe Monday, if not definitely on Wednesday, but for sure normally on Sundays and Wednesdays. I know that was a little confusing. We appreciate you. If you like the show, subscribe. Help the First Round to grow to epic proportions, and we will be here. Watch our Twitter account, The First Round 1, at The First Round 1, and you can get a hold of the show, thefirstraundrd@gmail.com. Until next time, take care of yourselves.